Good morning, students. Welcome back. I hope all of you are safe and fit at home, studying well and completing your work on time. This video is for the students of class 8th, subject English. And in today's video, we are going to cover one chapter of our PCW's grammar book. This video is the combination of chapter numbers 21 to 23. The name of the chapters are Analysis of Simple, Compound and Complex Sentences. This is my lecture number 1 for the same chapters. These chapters are taken from PCW's grammar book. Students, we shall cover these chapters in one lecture only. Topics to be covered in today's lecture are definitions of analysis, sentence, predicate, clause, conjunctions will be explained along with examples in detail. Types of clauses, conjunctions and sentences will be explained along with examples in detail. Then homework will be assigned. At last, previous homework will be discussed. What is analysis? The answer of this question is analysis is the breaking up of a sentence into its parts with a view to showing their mutual relation. Every sentence consists of two parts, that is the subject and the predicate. Sometimes the subject is omitted, as sit down. Here the subject you is understood. What is a sentence? A group of words that makes complete sense is called sentence. A sentence expresses a complete thought. What is predicate? So, the predicate is that part which tells something about the subject in the sentence. Now let us see few examples to clarify it. Number 1, dogs bark. Number 2, the sun gives light. Number 3, I gave him my camera. Number 4, she appears pleased. So, when the predicate consists of only one word, that word is always a verb. But when the predicate consists of several words, the essential word in the predicate is always a verb. In sentence number 2, gives is a transitive verb, having light as its object. In sentence number 3, gave is a transitive verb, having two objects, that is camera and him. Camera is here direct object, him is here indirect object. So dear students, whenever you are getting two objects in a sentence, at that time the direct object will be your non-living thing and your indirect object will be your living thing. And in sentence number 4, appears is a verb of incomplete predication and requires a complement, that is pleased, to make the sense complete. So now let us see the definition of clause to clarify it. A sentence which is part of a larger sentence is called a clause. It contains a subject and a verb. It can be a simple sentence or a part of compound sentence. A phrase and a clause are also parts of a sentence. Or in simple way, we can say that a clause is comprised of a group of words which includes a subject and a finite verb. A clause contains only one subject and one verb. The subject of a clause can be mentioned or hidden, but the verb must be clearly visible and distinguishable. Let's see an example to clarify it. Look at the following sentence, which is divided into two parts. He died before he was tired. Now, let us examine each part of the sentence. The first part has a subject, that is he, and a predicate, that is died, or you can say a verb, that is died. Similarly, the second part has a subject he and a predicate was tired. So, in this sentence, there are two clauses. One is he died and another one is before he was tired. But one is main clause and another one is dependent clause. So now let us see how many kinds of clauses are there. Number one, main clause, or you can say principal clause. Number two is subordinate clause, or you can say dependent clause. So there are two kinds of clauses, that is main clause and subordinate clause, or you can say independent or principal clause and dependent clause. Let's see what is the meaning of main clause. Main clause is that clause which expresses a complete meaning. It alone can stand as a sentence. Means, main clause, it is a clause which is giving a complete meaning by its own. It is also called the principal or independent clause. Let us see an example to clarify it. As I have divided one sentence in two parts. He died before he was tired. So, the clause he died in the first sentence makes good sense by itself and hence can stand by itself as a complete sentence. It is therefore called the principal or main clause, or you can say the independent clause. So, an independent clause or main clause functions on its own to make a meaningful sentence. Now let us see what is the meaning or definition of subordinate clause. A subordinate clause is a clause that cannot stand alone as a complete sentence. It needs an independent clause to make sense. It is also called the dependent clause, or we can say a dependent clause cannot function on its own because it leaves an idea or thought unfinished. It is also called subordinate clause. Dependent clauses help the independent clauses to complete the sentence. A dependent clause alone cannot form a complete sentence. Let us see an example to clarify it. He died before he was tired. So, the clause before he was tired cannot stand by itself and make good sense. It is dependent on the principal clause. He died. It is therefore called a dependent or subordinate clause. Subordinators include relative pronouns and subordinating conjunctions. So, the difference between independent and dependent clause is an independent clause functions on its own to make a meaningful sentence, but a dependent clause cannot function on its own because it leaves an idea or thought unfinished. So now let us see how many kinds of sentences are there on the basis of structure. Number 1, simple sentence. Number 2, compound sentence. Number 3, complex sentence. Number 4, compound complex sentence or complex compound sentence. So there are 4 kinds of sentences on the basis of structure. So now let us read about all these kinds of sentences in detail. What is a simple sentence? So the answer of this question is a sentence containing one subject expressed or understood and one predicate is called simple sentence. A simple sentence consists of only one independent clause. You will not get any another clause, means you will not get any dependent clause in it. You will get only and only one independent clause, one subject and one predicate in it. Now let us see few examples to clarify it. Number 1, dogs bark. Number 2, the doors of the prison closed upon that bold chief. Number 3, the little child, tired of play, is sleeping. It will be seen that when the subject consists of several words, there is always one word in it which is more important than the rest of the words. Thus, in sentence 2, the most important word in the subject is doors. In sentence 3, the most important word in the subject is child. So, the chief word in the complete subject is called the subject word or simple subject. Students, note one thing, the subject word or simple subject is always a noun or some word or group of words that does the work of noun. Means a subject can be a noun or pronoun, adjective, anything it can be. To clarify it, let us see few examples. As a noun, for example, Baba is asleep. So here Baba is a noun and it is the subject of the sentence. Number 2, a pronoun. For example, he tried his best. So here he is pronoun and it is a subject of the sentence. Number 3, an adjective used as a noun. For example, the rich are not always happy. So here the word rich is an adjective and it is a subject of the sentence. Number 4, as gerund or verbal noun. For example, reading is his favorite pastime. So here reading is gerund and it is the subject of the sentence. Number 5, an infinitive. For example, to respect our parents is our duty. So here to respect is an infinitive and it is the subject of the sentence. Number 6, a phrase doing the work of a noun. For example, how to do it is a question. So here how to do it is a phrase and it is a subject of the sentence. So each of the sentences has only one subject and only one predicate. Such sentences are called simple sentences. But simple sentence may have more than one subject but only one predicate. For example, Mohan and Chandani go for a morning walk. So remember one thing, a simple sentence contains only one independent clause. An independent clause is a group of words that has a subject and a verb and can stand alone as a complete thought. So these kinds of sentences have only one independent clause and they don't contain any subordinate clause. That is why these sentences are called simple sentences. Now let us move to another kind of sentence. What is a compound sentence? A compound sentence joins two or more independent clauses with a coordinator such as for, and, or, but, or a semicolon or comma. Compound sentences have more than one subject and more than one verb. They are two complete thoughts joined by a punctuation mark, usually a semicolon or a conjunction. Remember that an independent clause is a complete sentence or thought that has a subject or a verb. That means two independent clauses are two complete thoughts joined together form a compound sentence. Now let us see few examples to clarify it. Number 1. The moon was bright and we could see our way. Number 2. Night came on and rain fell heavily and we all got very wet. Sentence 1 consists of two parts. Number 1. The moon was bright. Number 2. We could see our way. These two parts are joined by the coordinating conjunction and. Each part contains a subject and a predicate of its own. Each part is therefore a sentence which is a part of a larger sentence. In other words, each part is what is called a clause. We further notice that each clause makes good sense by itself and neither of them is inferior to or dependent on the other. In other words, they are of equal order or rank and are therefore said to be coordinate to each other. A sentence such as this, which is made up of coordinate clauses, is called compound sentence. Sentence 2 consists of three clauses of equal rank or order, or in other words, of three coordinate clauses. Number 1. Night came on. B. Rain fell heavily. C. We all got very wet. Such sentences are called compound sentences. Now let us see what is the meaning of coordinating conjunctions. A coordinating conjunction joins together clauses, words and phrases of equal rank. To clarify it, let us see an example. Birds fly and fishes swim. As you can see that birds fly, fishes swim. Both are independent clauses. They both are giving their own meanings. So, the statement or sentence contains two independent statements of equal rank or importance. Hence, the conjunction joining together these two statements of clauses of equal rank is called a coordinating conjunction, or coordinating means of equal rank or order. The clauses of a compound sentence are usually joined together by coordinating conjunctions. The easiest way to recognize coordinating conjunctions are short form is fanboys, that is for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So now let us see few examples. Number 1. We craved not a line, comma, and we raised not a stone. So here, we craved not a line, we raised not a stone. Both are independent sentences and joined with the help of coordinating conjunction, that is and. That is why it is a compound sentence. And here the meaning of and is cumulative, means adding one sentence to another. Number 2, he is slow, comma, but he is sure. So here he is slow, he is sure. Both are independent sentences joined with coordinating conjunction but. That is why it is a compound sentence. And here Meaning of but is adversative, means expressing contrast between two sentences or statements. Number 3, she must weep or she will die. So here she must weep, she will die. Both are independent sentences joined with the help of coordinating conjunction or. That is why it is a compound sentence. So here the meaning of or is alternative, means expressing a choice between two alternatives. Number 4, something fell in, semicolon, for I heard a splash. Something fell in, I heard a splash. Both are independent sentences. Thus, they are joined with the help of coordinating conjunction for. That is why it is a compound sentence. And the meaning of for is here illative, means expressing an interference. Students, remember one thing, compound sentences are often contracted, means reduced. For example, when the coordinate clause have a common subject. To clarify this point, let us see an example. He chid their wanderings, comma, but relieved their pain, full stop. So here the meaning of chid is criticize. So the same sentence can be written like this. He chid their wanderings, comma, but he relieved their pain. To just avoid the repetition of the same subject in a same sentence, we have removed the another subject, means we have removed one subject from the sentence to make it more easy. Now let us see another point, a common verb. Same with verb also. For example, some praise the work and some the architect. We can write down the same sentence like this also. Some praise the work, comma, and some praise the architect. So to avoid the repetition of the same verb in a same sentence, so what we did, we remove one verb from the sentence to make it easy. Now let us move the another kind of sentence, that is complex sentence. What is a complex sentence? A complex sentence consists of one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Complex sentences are joined by subordinating conjunctions like although, when, since, unless or until, etc. or relative pronouns like that, who, which, etc. Now let us see what is subordinating conjunctions. A subordinating conjunctions joins a clause to another on which it depends for its full meaning. To clarify it, first of all, let us see an example. I read the paper because it interests me. The statement or sentence contains two statements or clauses, one of which because it interests me is dependent on the other for its full meaning, means to complete its meaning. Hence, the conjunction introducing the dependent or subordinate clause is called a subordinating conjunction. Or in simple way, we can say that a subordinating conjunction is a word or phrase that links a dependent clause to an independent clause to complete its meaning. Now let us see few examples to clarify this. Number 1, he went where he could find work. As you can see that he went is here principal clause, as it is giving us a complete meaning. But where he could find work is here dependent clause, as it is not giving us a complete meaning. So when a sentence contains one main clause, that is principal clause or independent clause, or one dependent clause, that is subordinating clause, so that sentence will be considered as complex sentence. So a complex sentence in its simplest form contains a main clause and a subordinate clause, which may be a noun, adjective or adverb clause. Now let us see another example. The man who built this house owns the car which you saw. Again, this is also a complex sentence. Number 3, I earn whatever I can. Number 4, the place where the accident occurred is nearby. Usually, when a long sentence is given for analyzing, detailed analysis is not required. In such a case, the student is asked to give what is called clause analysis. That is, he is asked to break up the given sentence into its several clauses and show their relation with one another. So, let us see another example. He replied that he worked whenever he liked. So, when we will break this sentence into different clauses, so what result we will get? Let's see. He replied is here principal clause. That he worked. So, here that he worked. So, it is a noun clause, right? And replied is here object. Whenever he liked, it is an adjective clause of time. And subordinate to the word worked here, verb worked here. And the connectors are that and whenever. Now, let's see one more example. I don't know where he lives. So, here I don't know. It is a principal clause as it is giving us a complete meaning. Where he lives, as it is not giving us a complete meaning. So, that is why it is an dependent clause. So, thus this sentence is complex sentence. So, each of the sentences have two clauses or unequal rank, that is one of higher rank called principal clause and another of lower rank called subordinate clause. And they are joined by subordinating conjunctions like where, who, whenever, until, and relative pronouns like that, who, etc. So, they are called complex sentences. Now, let us see last kind of sentence. What is complex compound sentence? A sentence consisting of at least one dependent clause and at least two independent clauses is called a complex compound sentence or compound complex sentence. So now let us see few examples to clarify it. Number 1, he went to college and I went to a market where I bought a book. So here in this sentence, as you can see that he went to college, it is an independent clause. I went to a market, it is also an independent clause, and they both are joined with the help of coordinating conjunction, that is and. Fine. But in the same sentence, where I bought a book, it is not an independent clause, it is an dependent clause which is not giving us a complete sentence, complete sense when we are keeping this whole phrase aside apart from the complete sentence. So, as you can see that this sentence consisting of two independent clauses and one dependent clause. Thus, it is called a compound complex sentence or a complex compound sentence. Same with another example also. I like accounting, but my brother likes biology because he wants to be a doctor. So as you can see that in the same sentence, it consists of two independent clauses and one dependent clause. So that is why this sentence is considered as compound complex sentence. So this is the end of the chapter. Students, you have to complete your homework on the basis of the chapters explained by me. And your homework is revise chapter number 21, 22 and 23, that is analysis of simple, compound and complex sentences from the book or video, and based on the understanding of the topics, do exercise given in the video or mentioned in the video. Extra exercise number 1. This exercise, it is not in your book. It is given by me. Whatever exercises are there in your book, those exercises will be done during your revision time. Now let us see exercise number 1. Question is, state whether the following sentences are simple, compound or complex. Number 1. Alice and James went to the park in the evening. Number 2. She put on her coat and went out. Number 3. I cannot figure out what he wants. Number 4. You don't look happy to see me. Number 5 is, the cat saw the puppies playing in the garden. Number 6 is, as soon as the dog saw its master, it started wagging its tail. Number 7, the house was so beautiful that he decided to buy it. Number 8, they tried very hard but they couldn't win the match. Number 9, you can live or stay. Number 10, although it was raining, we went for a walk. Students, remember one thing, if dependent clause is coming in the beginning, means if the sentence is starting with the dependent clause, then just after the dependent clause you will get a comma. But if your sentence is starting with independent clause, then you will not get any comma in between the sentences. Now we shall discuss the homework solution of the homework which was assigned you in lecture number 1 of chapter number 9, that is the Comet 1. I have already explained you the story of the part 1 and 2 of chapter number 9, the Comet 1, in detail along with word meanings. As I assigned you homework which was to be done by you on the basis of your understanding, and your homework was read chapter 9, that is the Comet 1, and write word meanings mentioned in the video. Based on the understanding of the chapter, write the answers of the questions mentioned in the book. It so happened as page number 77, comprehension check, question number 1 to 7. Page number 80, comprehension check, that is question number 1 to 4. Now let us discuss word meanings in detail. Question is, write the meaning of the following words in your English Fair notebook. Number 1, oblivious means forgetful. Number 2, dreadful means fear or unhappiness. Number 3, manuscript means paper or book not yet printed. Number 4, calamities means disasters or misfortunes. Number 5, smudges means spots or marks. Number 6, gigantic means huge or enormous. Number 7, acquired means bought. Number 8, butler means the chief manservant. Now let us discuss questions and answers of comprehension check, which is on page number 77 in your book in detail. Question number 1 is, why does Indrani Devi dislike Datta's hobnobbing with Dibya? The answer of the question is, Indrani Devi disliked Datta's hobnobbing with Dibya because he was always busy at night gazing up at the sky with Dibya and never cared for his wife. Question number 2 is, she is complaining and smiling. Why is she smiling? The answer of the question is, she was smiling at the forgetful nature of Datta. His doctor had told him to take special precautions against the cold, but he wouldn't remember to put on a sweater. That's why she was smiling. Question number 3, part 1 is, what was Datta's secret ambition? The answer of this question is, Datta's secret ambition was to discover a new comet one day. Question number 3, part 2 is, what did he do to achieve it? The answer of the question is, to achieve his ambition, he bought an 8-inch telescope. It was duly installed on the roof of his house, and he spent long dark nights in gazing stars. Question number 4 is, what is the difference between a planet and a comet as given in the story? The answer of the question is, like planets, comets also orbit round the sun, but their orbits are highly eccentric. So, once in a while a comet comes close to the sun. It has a longish tail that is lit brilliantly by the sunlight, and then it recedes into darkness, not to be seen again for years or for centuries. Question number 5 is, why was Datta hopeful that he would discover a new comet soon? The answer of the question is, Datta was optimistic, means hopeful that he would discover a comet, as professional astronomers generally ignore this as they are indulged with their pre-assigned programs, looking at faint stars and nebulous galaxies. Question number 6 is, why does Datta say, I almost wish I had not discovered this comet? The answer of the question is, he was an introvert person, and his discovery of a new comet brought in unwelcome publicity to him, for which he had to attend numerous receptions and functions. He was so fed up of meeting people that he wished he had not discovered the comet. Question number 7 is, why is his wife unhappy about the discovery? The answer of this question is, Datta's wife Indrani Devi was unhappy about the discovery because she thought that comets bring ill luck or cause unnatural calamities to earth. More along, she was concerned that a good man like Datta should not have been associated with the discovery of a comet. Now let us discuss questions and answers of comprehension check, which is on page number 80 in your book. Question number 1 is, how did Sir John get hold of James' original manuscript? The answer of the question is, James' original manuscript was published in the paper Nature. Sir John got hold of it from Mr. Taylor, who was the editor of Nature and was also his friend. Question number 2 is, what is the important point the paper makes? The answer of the question is, the important point the paper makes is that comet Datta is likely to collide with planet Earth within the next 10 months. Question number 3 is, why does Sir John say that James' paper should not be published? The answer of the question is, Sir John was of the view that James' paper should not be published because the dreadful news would create a panic all over the world. Question number 4 is, what do the two men finally decide to do? The answer of the question is, the two men finally decide to organize an important secret conference of international experts to chalk out a plan to avert this impending calamity. That's all for today. This is the end of the lecture. Students, if you like our videos, please hit on the like button and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you and have a nice day.